The Algonquin people, who belong to the Algonquian language family, are one of the indigenous groups of North America, and they have a rich history that stretches back millennia. Their name, often spelled as Algonquin, is derived from either the Maliseet word Elaconquic, meaning they are our relatives or allies, or the Mi'kmaq word Algumiking, meaning at the place of spearing fish and eels. Today, the Algonquin people live primarily in Quebec and Ontario, Canada, but their historical range extended much farther. Below is a detailed exploration of the Algonquin tribe, covering their history, culture, social structure, interaction with Europeans, and their current status. The Algonquin people traditionally inhabited a vast region of what is now eastern Canada and parts of northeastern North America. Historically, their territory included the Ottawa River watershed, which spans across present-day Ontario and Quebec. This area is rich in rivers, lakes, and dense forests, making it a prime location for the Algonquin way of life, which was heavily based on hunting, fishing, and gathering. The Algonquin people are part of the larger Algonquian linguistic group, which includes various other tribes like the Ojibwe, Cree, and Blackfoot. Despite sharing linguistic roots with these groups, the Algonquin developed their distinct identity and ways of life, tailored to their environment and cultural practices. The Algonquin lived primarily as hunter-gatherers, relying heavily on the natural resources available in the boreal forests and river systems of their territory. Their survival was intricately connected to the seasonal cycles of the land, and they moved between winter and summer camps to follow the migration of animals and the availability of plant foods. The Algonquin people were skilled hunters and fishermen. Moose, deer, and beaver were among the primary game hunted, and these animals provided not only food but also hides for clothing and shelter, bones for tools, and sinew for stitching. Fishing was another important source of sustenance, particularly in the abundant rivers and lakes of their homeland. They used weirs, traps, and spears to catch a variety of fish species, including sturgeon, trout, and eels. In winter, the Algonquin used snowshoes to traverse deep snow while hunting game, and their toboggans allowed them to transport meat and supplies across the snow-covered landscape. While the Algonquin diet was predominantly meat-based, they also gathered wild plants, berries, and nuts. Wild rice, maple syrup, and various roots and berries supplemented their diet, providing necessary vitamins and nutrients. Maple sap was particularly important to the Algonquin, and they developed sophisticated methods for harvesting and processing sap to produce maple syrup, a vital source of sweetness and energy. The Algonquin are renowned for their expertise in building birch bark canoes. These canoes, lightweight and durable, were essential for travel along the extensive waterways of their territory. Birch bark canoes were constructed using bark from the birch tree, lashed together with spruce root, and sealed with pine resin. The canoe's design allowed for easy portaging and swift navigation through rivers and lakes, which was crucial for trade, hunting expeditions, and warfare. The Algonquin people were organized into bands, each consisting of several families. These bands were semi-nomadic, moving seasonally to different parts of their territory in response to food availability. While they did not form large, centralized political entities, the Algonquin were united by their language and cultural practices. The Algonquin clan system was matrilineal, meaning descent and inheritance were traced through the mother's line. Each clan was associated with a particular animal, such as the bear, moose, or wolf, which was believed to offer spiritual guidance and protection to its members. Clan members were expected to adhere to specific taboos and responsibilities, ensuring harmony between the human and natural world. Algonquin spirituality was deeply rooted in nature, and they believed that all elements of the natural world, animals, plants, rocks, rivers, were imbued with spirits. This animistic worldview meant that the Algonquin people approached their environment with reverence and respect, carefully balancing their needs with the preservation of nature's resources. Shamans, known as Midwiwin, played an important role in Algonquin society. They were responsible for maintaining spiritual balance, healing the sick, and conducting ceremonies to honor the spirits. Vision quests, where young men would seek guidance from the spirit world through fasting and isolation, were an essential rite of passage in Algonquin culture. Ceremonies were an important part of Algonquin life, marking important life events such as birth, death, and marriage, as well as seasonal changes and successful hunts. These ceremonies often involved songs, dances, and offerings to the spirits, seeking their blessings for the community. The arrival of European explorers and traders in the 16th and 17th centuries had a profound impact on the Algonquin people. The French were among the first Europeans to establish contact with the Algonquin, who became crucial allies in the burgeoning fur trade. The Algonquin acted as middlemen, trading pelts of beaver and other animals to the French in exchange for European goods such as metal tools, firearms, and cloth. The Algonquin aligned themselves with the French in part to defend against their traditional enemies, the Iroquois Confederacy. The Iroquois, who were aligned with the British, sought to expand their control over the fur trade and frequently clashed with the Algonquin. These conflicts, known as the Beaver Wars, lasted for much of the 17th century and resulted in the displacement of many Algonquin communities. European contact also introduced diseases such as smallpox, to which the Algonquin had no natural immunity. These diseases devastated their population, reducing their numbers significantly in the decades following European contact. The fur trade became a central part of the Algonquin economy during the 17th and 18th centuries, and many Algonquin men took part in long-distance hunting expeditions to supply the demand for beaver pelts. The Algonquin established strong trading relationships with the French, and they were key participants in alliances formed between various indigenous nations and French settlers during the colonial wars of the 17th and 18th centuries. During the French and Indian War, 1754 to 1763, the Algonquin sided with the French against the British. After the defeat of the French in 1763, British colonial expansion increasingly encroached on Algonquin lands, leading to further conflicts. By the late 18th and 19th centuries, European settlement and government policies resulted in the displacement of many Algonquin communities from their traditional lands. Treaties and land agreements often ignored Algonquin rights, and they were pushed onto reserves, where their way of life became increasingly restricted. Despite these challenges, the Algonquin people have maintained a strong sense of identity and continue to advocate for the protection of their lands and cultural practices. Modern-day Algonquin communities are involved in negotiations with the Canadian government over land claims, seeking recognition of their rights to their traditional territories. Today, there are around 11 recognized Algonquin bands in Canada, with the majority located in Quebec and some in Ontario. These communities continue to practice traditional hunting, fishing, and gathering, while also engaging with modern Canadian society. Many Algonquin people are involved in efforts to revitalize their language, which has been endangered by centuries of assimilation policies. The Algonquin people continue to celebrate their culture through festivals, ceremonies, and storytelling. Cultural preservation programs have been developed to ensure that traditional knowledge is passed down to future generations, and many Algonquin artists, musicians, and writers contribute to the broader recognition of their heritage. The Algonquin people have a long and rich history, shaped by their deep connection to the land and their ability to adapt to changing circumstances. Despite the challenges they have faced, ranging from conflicts with other indigenous nations to the disruptive effects of European colonization, the Algonquin have remained resilient, continuing to uphold their cultural traditions while advocating for their rights in the modern world. Their story is one of endurance, adaptation, and a profound respect for the natural world that sustained them for thousands of years.